Tribe, D. Bonnie here, ER doctor turned marriage coach. Happy Tuesday. Listen, I want to come on here and chat with you a little bit about this idea that we're seeing all around us, and that is that we are all offended by everything, and everyone else's opinion is shockingly wrong. Like, have you noticed that? Have you noticed this swing in the pendulum of how we can no longer empathetically disagree with one another? We just have to not only be right, but we have to force other people to agree with us because clearly, my view of the way the world operates is the correct one. And so if you think differently than I do, then it's very simple. You are just wrong. And not only that, but I also have to forcefully let you know that you are wrong. And I even have to ostracize you. And it's like this entire culture that we've developed where everyone is offended, everyone is firmly convinced of their beliefs, and everyone is hell-bent on telling everyone else about how wrong they are. And I see it all around on both sides of the political spectrum, right? Your ideas, my ideas, they clash. And if we don't think alike, then we can't be friends. And then I wonder, like, how does that affect our marriages? Or is that a byproduct of how our marriages have been impacted for a long time? Have you ever noticed that when you and your spouse or anyone else important in your life disagree, the other person is wrong, right? Like, that's how we're wired as humans, to think that the way I'm seeing the situation is absolutely the proper way. And when my wife is seeing the same situation differently than I do, she has to be wrong. So then it's my responsibility to teach her, to educate her so that she's no longer wrong. That causes a breakdown in communication, guys. We see it politically, we see it in our culture, but do you see it in your house? Do you see how there are times when you are convinced with every fiber of your being, every strand of DNA, that your approach to this chaos that's going on in your life is the correct approach? Like, we are programmed, we are correct until we aren't. And I think that if we're ever going to move the needle in our social circles, in our political circles, and in our marriage, we have got to learn that I am frequently wrong, regardless of what we're talking about. I'm not always right. So there's that part of me, that pride, that's not going to like that. Of course I'm right. Of course I'm seeing this. I have more information than you. I know more. I have more experience. I tell you, like, that caused problems in my relationship with Megan. And it wasn't even as nefarious as that. It wasn't like I was trying to prove her wrong. It was just, I was convinced that I was right about whatever it was. And then I used my oratory skills to be influential to her so that she would see my point of view. And then when she agreed, I knew that I had convinced her and that she now was living in truth. When really all that was happening was she was just agreeing to not have conflict. She didn't really agree. And yet I thought she did. And so we went on like this for a couple of years because I've got this big personality. And if there's a power vacuum in the room, I don't mind filling it. And here's Megan feeling unheard because we would have a different approach to a situation. And I would use my skills of my gift of gab, my skills of communication, and I would cause her to see it my way. And then we lived in harmony, but we really didn't. And so how's this affecting your relationship? When's the last time that you got into a conflict with your spouse and very quickly you were like, oh, I'm not right? It doesn't frequently happen, but it should, or it should at least happen to the point that you maybe say, perhaps I'm not right, or perhaps there's more than one way to look at the situation. Maybe it's not just about me. And I think if you'll start doing that, The origin of that has to be listening better. We've got to get better at active listening. You have to listen in a way that you do not start passing judgment on what the other person is telling you. You just listen. You just seek to understand. Stephen Covey said it. First seek to understand, then to be understood. But we all want to be understood first. Am I right? Like, understand me, and then you'll see the right way. Guys, it doesn't work that way. We have got to be in a situation in which we humble ourselves before our spouse and we go, hey, tell me what you mean. Explain that some more. Well, that's interesting. Why do you think that way? Why do you think about that person in that way? Like, what about you has caused you to develop that opinion? Ask better questions, ask more clarifying questions. And if you want to do that, you will move the needle in your relationship. As soon as your spouse starts figuring like, oh, hey, she understands me. Well, now maybe I should listen a little bit better. It's got to start with somebody, though. So the next time you get into an issue, a conflict, immediately think, I'm probably wrong. Start from there, because you can always convince yourself you're right. Like, if you really are right, you'll get back to that. But start by thinking, am I wrong? Maybe the other person's right. Maybe I should see this differently. And guys, if you do that, it's going to affect all your relationships, not just your marriage, your relationship with your adult children, your relationship with your neighbors and your coworkers, your relationship with your boss. Most importantly, the relationship with your wife or your husband. Just listen. Just listen. Just stop talking. Hey, listen, click the share button. People need to hear this. Their relationships are struggling, if you hadn't noticed. And also, I'm going to ask you to come over to YouTube, if you're not there right now, and click subscribe, because I would love to have you following along. And I want your comments. Leave me some comments. Give me some feedback. Tell me how I'm wrong. Fight me. I don't care. All right. I love you guys. Have a good day. See ya. Bye.